We in here. We in here. Oh man. Yo, what up, world? It's your boy C's from theseasonlife.com. Welcome back to the people's favorite channel on the internet. Man, was working my, my day shift. And on my way home, I just got the news through the social media family. Like Andrew Tate and Tristan Tate was arrested in Romania. And I don't have too much information, so I just did what everybody else is probably going to do and go online, go on Twitter, see what other people are hearing or what other people are saying. And yeah, I stumbled upon this Spaces call on Twitter. So let me pull that up. They've been talking about it for a bit. So, what do you guys think, man? Do you think that the Matrix finally caught up to Tristan, or what, man? I mean, do you think the Matrix caught up to Andrew and Tristan, or do you think that they are guilty? I know it's too early to tell, but you know what I mean? Everybody has that same thought. So let's hop in this space call real quick. Let's see what they're saying.
Speak as well.
I haven't read through everything yet. I would only say I'm listening and I'm reading some articles as things get updated here. Just to the argument that, why would he need to do this? There are people who throw themselves at whoever manages the talent for OnlyFans.
Yo, if you in here,
first of all,
let me know what your thoughts are, man, on this Andrew Tate
situation. Second of all, we've seen how, find me the man and I'll find you the crime. When someone becomes politically toxic, they can find all sorts of crimes. So I'm skeptical from one end and the other, but I will presume innocence until there's convincing evidence of guilt. But the idea that there are women who would do this and throw themselves at agents and whoever manages them, that's true. There have always been people that will volunteer prostitution for free or for low cost. There's still been trafficking.
I think it's a setup.
A long period of time.
Yo, why do you think it's a setup?
For people who get exploited, and it has to do with power. It has to do with
he's been
a number
saying
of other
this
factors
for years.
Other than people will do it, so why not just exploit those who will? But as far as it goes, Tate is politically toxic, which will make him public enemy number one. That said,
so why do you think it's a setup? Like, what are your theories? Do you think it's the Greta Thunberg situation, or do you think the Matrix finally caught up to him, or you think he's guilty? Like, what's the setup? Wow.
It's a crazy world.
Crazy. So this is a Spaces call that we're listening to. We're listening to this Spaces call.
The allegations, anything
Pull
you
up the
heard,
volume a little bit.
anything at all.
They're actually talking to two camps: those who oppose Andrew's views and those who are for Andrew's views.
I'm here. I've
This is a Spaces call on
seen
Twitter,
anything like that. I've
hosted by Mario Nafal. So if you guys are catching this live or on the replay, we are currently listening to Andrew Tate arrest coverage on Spaces. And they're talking to his close friends, his acquaintances,
eject those people,
trying to get down
just
to
for having that sort of paraphernalia,
what actually is going on,
bringing it to the establishment.
And how long have you known him? Because as Kim said, this could have happened.
Okay, I believe 2015
I want
believes
to say about 5
that
years,
speaking too much about the system.
I definitely met him before COVID.
It's true, man.
COVID started.
You've been talking a lot.
So it was well.
You've been
before
talking
that.
a lot. You definitely caught
years.
my attention with all that talk you were saying.
Tom, you there?
One of the, I think it's interesting that the human trafficking issue has popped up, and Tate's role in doing any of that obviously is going to be described further in future days. But I just want to highlight something that's going on. The United States is in the middle of, on the wrong end, enabled by this administration, of the largest human trafficking operation in the history of humanity.
Okay.
And when you have a human trafficking operation like that, at such great size, it means children are being trafficked, it means drugs are being trafficked, and it means there's sexual trafficking at the heart of it as well. So I want as much media focus on Andrew Tate's alleged human trafficking, on the crisis we're facing with the human trafficking being aided and abetted by this administration. So when you have the government involved, in my view, in committing crimes that we would find morally outrageous, as we're concerned about in terms of what Tate's been alleged to have been involved in, we're in dire straits for sure.
Wall Street Silver, I saw you unmute earlier.
Yeah, I can see both sides of this. On the one hand, Tate's a very famous guy, rumored to have a lot of money. Women do make crazy allegations sometimes. For
Sometimes,
to get
like
a
we
settlement.
saw this whole Meg Thee Stallion case.
We can't dismiss that might be what's going on here. It might not be, but that's definitely a possibility with someone as notorious and as infamous as Andrew Tate. On the other hand, speaking to something Grant was talking about regarding the way he just so casually
Grant Cardone
money,
is up in here
perhaps
too.
leasing jets, do exotic cars. It reminds me a lot of the Atlas trading guys, those guys who were just indicted for the trading scandals, for the pump and dump scams. That's a very common element for these people to try to build a persona that's false in order to sell their image, make themselves more famous, to increase their marketing ability of whatever business it is they're doing. So when I see people like Andrew Tate, doing these crazy videos or these crazy images, flaunting wealth just to ridiculous extremes.
Sounds like a bunch of haters,
that just
though.
Screams out to me, what's really going on here? What's the angle business wise for doing that? But there's a marketing angle to that for his persona, and whether there's a legitimate business there or not, I don't know. I don't know his business or how he made his wealth, but there's a lot of red flags in his background that just jump out at me as, not all is as it seems with Andrew Tate. So, I don't have any inside information. I'm just giving my gut instinct from observing.
Yo, when you pull up in here, let us know your thoughts, man. What do you think of this Andrew Tate situation?
I also want to bring up someone.
We're listening to some live coverage of some of his close friends and acquaintances, and some people who also oppose his views. So what are your thoughts out there?
For them to arrest him now for 24 hours, and we've had a lot of people say it's probably going to be longer. It's looking that way, at least for Andrew, not Tristan. How much evidence do they need to have before making an arrest?
I think it's just an investigation, right? You hold them in for questioning, just like in the United States, you can hold a person in for, for as long as it takes until they get a lawyer, or, they invoke their rights. So I can't imagine it's that different in Romania. Like in Sweden, you can hold them indefinitely. So thankfully, he's not in Sweden.
What do you mean you can hold them indefinitely?
Oh, you remember when that one rapper, A$AP
Rocky?
Yeah, A$AP Rocky. He got arrested in Sweden because it was some bullshit reason, right? We all saw the video. And they held him for as long as they wanted to, because that's the law in Sweden, where you can literally hold a person for as long as it takes until you charge them. It's an absurdly backwards position, and it's completely terrible compared to the United States, certainly, and even to most European countries, including Eastern Europe. So Sweden is a very odd country in that regard.
So we got someone close to Andrew. They say, "Hey, Mario Tate has said he's never been violent with women on multiple occasions." I'm happy to bring this up. So, just wanted to mention that. That's another person that is close to Andrew. again, like we don't know how Andrew was 5 years ago, 7 years ago, 8 years ago. So, but these are serious allegations. Moroder, how are you?
Hey, how's it going, Mario? Good to hear from you again.
Man, good to see you. Good to see you, man. Good to see you. You wanted to mention something about the in the military, the briefings on human trafficking.
Yeah, so right before deployments, if you can imagine, human trafficking and prostitution are kind of big things for soldiers. So they would debrief us, and they would break everything down for us. They would say these are these are typical, very similar to drug trafficking if they're really organized. So I mean, they have a business that they have during the day. Maybe it's a nail salon. Maybe it's well, I don't know a nail salon, but maybe meat packing or a distillery, and that's where the money comes in on the paper, and then what do you call it? It is brought in, it's layered in through proceeds of prostitution. Even though I don't know if it's legal in Romania specifically. It's legal in parts of Europe. I don't know about Romania in specific, but in parts of the West, where prostitution is legal, most of the prostitutes or sex workers are from the East, like Ukraine and Romania and Bulgaria. So yeah, very, very,
Well,
very
it's
well
decriminalized
organized.
in Romania. It's like it's in the penal code, but it's decriminalized. They no longer consider it a criminal offense. That's my understanding of it.
Okay, so for the most part, yeah, it's not mainstream. It's not like in Germany where they have establishments, and so.
So I'm just having a look now. BBC just got a notification. BBC controversial online influencer Andrew Tate has reportedly been detained in Romania as part of a human trafficking and rape.
Damn, they getting Andrew
insane
Tate
if
up
it's
out of
a
here,
false
B.
allegation made by
Yo, what is going on with the end of
one of the
2022?
girls there.
Somebody out there, tell
Again,
me.
I don't
What's
think
going
you can
on
assume that,
in
Mario.
2022
No, I'm
right now?
saying it would be. I'm not assuming this to be clear. Not at all assuming
Yeah.
this. I
So
wouldn't be surprised.
they're saying
I wouldn't
they're
be
saying they're
I was
saying
gonna
the
say I wouldn't be
allegations
surprised if the
from
allegations are true. Because look at the things he says. I would not be surprised at all if they're true.
yeah.
We're not
So
talking
the
about someone who's-
allegations, as it stands, from 6 females, at least one of them supposedly underage. When you run an OnlyFans agency like he does, we're talking about hundreds of girls, and then you have like a steep fall off rate. A girl who is on OnlyFans, I assume, has to have a certain
Let me
attractiveness.
pause this real quick.
I'm sure a lot of them get in.
Hey, yo, so out there, right? If you do believe there is a matrix, and Andrew Tate also knows that there is a matrix, what's the cardinal sin? What's the cardinal rule that Andrew Tate broke, right, for the matrix to come after him? Because he's been talking for a while, right? And Andrew Tate has spoken several times about his 3 lives that he's given. He speaks about the first life that he's given, where it's where they try to cancel you. The second one is they will arrest you, and then the third one is they'll delete you. And he's been canceled already. He survived that. Now he's going through his arrest, right? If he beats this, you know what left, right? That last one. Did Andrew Tate violate that rule? That rule I speak of is do not outshine the master. Like, clearly he outshined the master with this one. Because they could have picked him up so many times. And I refuse to believe that Andrew Tate, knowing all of this stuff, like how loud and brass he is, I refuse to believe that he, if he was a criminal mastermind, as they're paying him out to be, he would have cleaned up a long time ago. Because there's people going to be hawking at you all the time. Will you, is your compound hiding your dirty secrets, your skeletons? We're going to have to wait, because, that's a different time zone over there. That's a different time zone. So I know the BBC just started reporting on it. There's still tons of details that, of course, they're not going to give the public. They're just going to keep pushing out He's a groomer. He's a trafficker. They're going to use all those buzzwords to describe him, giving his enemies and detractors ample ammunition for a lifetime to come to just talk mess about him, right? So I'm doing this coverage to like be fair. I'm sort of like the internet referee, you know what I'm saying? And this is a perfect medium right here with these people talking, because these are his peers. You got Kim.com in here. You have Grant Cardone. You have a lot of big heavy hitters in the influential marketing space, you know, that goes shoulder to shoulder with Andrew Tate on this call. And you have people who are for his message and those who are against him, those who have personal relationships with him. So yeah, it's man, it's sticky, dog. Like, there's so much behind this, but we're gonna let them talk. We're gonna hear what they gotta say.
You know, it could, as you mentioned, Ian, it could bring up a much bigger issue beyond Andrew Tate.
Is the trafficking strictly with OnlyFans? Because I thought if you're an OnlyFans creator, you're independent. You work for yourself.
No, so the way firstly the trafficking is unrelated. They didn't mention OnlyFans at all. They just said they mentioned the allegations without mentioning OnlyFans. So that could be before OnlyFans. That's number one. Number two, in terms of those, I just invited the lawyer. Number two, in terms of the girls being independent, man, it's fucked up. What happens is, like, I learned that I was in Miami and I was invited by some people that wanted me to invest. I knew nothing about OnlyFans. And then I met one of the girls. And then I'm asking her questions. I'm trying to understand how it all works. And she gives me a name, and then it just all seemed very scripted. I'm like, either this person's a bit odd, maybe she doesn't know how to communicate. And then later, I'm such an idiot with those things. Later I found out that she has a fake name that she uses. They own all the credentials. They're essentially, the account is theirs, the agency. They own it, and they pay the girl a percentage out of it, which is the unethical way of running that business. So that's worth mentioning. And that's with OnlyFans. Before OnlyFans, it was a lot less transparent and a lot darker. And that's coming from, and that's me that has no experience in the space, and I'm just telling you what I've heard. So I really want someone that has gotten involved in OnlyFans, ran an agency, or knows someone that ran an agency that can give us a bit more clarity on that, or anyone in the webcam business that can give us clarity on that side of the business, the dark side of the business. I really want to bring up that lawyer. I think it's a good way to kind of summarize everything. Would be getting the lawyer up that's been trying to come up for a while.
Mario, can I jump in while you're trying to get him?
Just briefly. Sam, you're back. Yeah.
Sorry, man. I'm back. So listen, I've been listening as much as I can. My signal's been in and out. One thing that's been brought up a few times is, you know, why would Andrew Tate need to do this financially, business-wise? It doesn't make any sense, and I agree that's true. But again, and I will point out that, you know, these are allegations at this stage, but, you know, Andrew Tate portrays, you know, serious insecurities. You know, if a psychologist was to analyze Andrew Tate, they would say everything he does is peacocking is a sign of deep insecurity. And
circumstantial.
With that, people who've sexually assaulted women, raped women, it's about power. It isn't about money. It isn't about anything. It's about deeply insecure men exerting their power over women. So if this does happen, you know, turn out to be true, what the accusations are, this could explain it. Sure, it doesn't make any sense from a business point of view, but you got to understand that there are other psychological things that you know, in this sort of scenario that do carry out.
And I do want to read one thing that I'm going to invite that person to come up. Regarding Tate, he wasn't actually, and Sam, you can probably correct any mistakes there.
Nobody wins against the Matrix,
Tate, he wasn't actually arrested.
Nobody wins against the Matrix unless you build something bigger. That's yet to be seen.
Allegations. Obviously, there's also been an investigation since April, so you know they wouldn't go in with 5 warrants. The judge wouldn't have issued those warrants if there weren't valid concerns.
The police had 5 total warrants for seizing evidence and bringing into questioning. For an investigation since April, I think it's just more than basic allegations. They would have done, you know, they've had months to look into those allegations. Something to point out. Accusations are from early 2021. 6 victims identified and potentially testified against him. The victims were brought in via the quote loverboy end quote method and then convinced, so that's in quotes, convinced to perform on OnlyFans. Okay, so they do mention OnlyFans. Do they, Sam?
Not in the official statement, no. But
Okay,
I
no.
guess this is just sort of journalistic. I mean, what Kim said was valid
And
as
one
well.
last, sorry, Sam. I'm gonna add the last sentence, and then I'll give you the mic. For a 30-day arrest, you need another warrant signed by a judge based on some proof from prosecutors. So if we see Tate, Andrew, or Tristan arrested for another 30 days, now we have evidence, and now it's looking a lot more serious. So go ahead, Sam.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right. The next 24 hours will be critical, and again, you've got to remember that this is the heart, sadly, of sex trafficking, sexual exploitation in Europe, where these alleged crimes have taken place. There will be a lot of young girls with very little opportunity in life, potentially being attracted to these lucrative opportunities. And I think, as Kim
one
said,
thing about
I
the
think
Matrix,
it's very likely now that
they'll get you up out of here, and like, will Andrew Tate be like up out of here? 1, and 2, if he is up out of here, will he be remembered? There's a lot of people that were screaming foul with the Tory Lanez verdict, and they've disappeared. He's like a hot topic. Will this also be a hot topic? You know what I'm saying? Like, you here today making jokes, aiming it at Greta Thunberg, and then next thing you know, you're in handcuffs. Like, they'll say that you're crazy with all these conspiracy theories and whatnot, but they'll be yet to discredit all the evidence, the mountains and mountains of evidence. So let me know what you guys thinking right now, man. Like, do you think Andrew seen this coming? Well, actually, he did. He did see this coming. Every podcast that I've seen him on, he's always said that this day will come. A lot of people said that Kanye West was crazy. A lot of people saying that Kyrie Irving is crazy. Now they're saying the top G crazy. Like, how many people who's on the other side of the conversation got to be crazy until, you start scratching your head?
Just a businessman. I think we keep dismissing that. People who commit sexual crimes against women have a pathology there about power. It's not about money. And we seem to be ignoring that. We keep saying, it doesn't make any business sense. I think we've got to understand that, it can be way beyond money and business, the sort of thing that happens in this industry.
Stan,
I
Stan
think
is up. Go ahead.
Stan's the one I wanted to bring up. Yeah. Okay.
Oh yeah, you were going to bring up Stan. Yeah, I'll let you do the introduction, Nick.
Sure. All right. So it's Lucas. Lucas Stan. He is an OnlyFans manager. He manages several girls at the moment. And basically, I thought it would be a pretty good to bring him on for a perspective. He knows a lot of top people in the game.
All right, we're about to get some good perspective.
Only 2 ways to become successful in the game, and so I'll let him explain those to you.
Yeah. Okay. Can you guys hear me?
Not bad. The mic. Okay, if you can improve the mic a bit, that'll be perfect.
Okay. Is this a little bit better?
Much better.
Okay. So, brief little rundown. I got a couple girls that I do run, and Nick talking about the 2 ways to kind of become successful in the space. It's what I've noticed. The first one is to have a girlfriend, and you work with them in person, and what you guys kind of explained earlier, you can take a big percentage out of that. I know people who have girlfriends, they put them on OnlyFans and they take 100% of the money, and then they just maybe buy a couple dinners for the girl every month. And those guys, because they can shoot content in person, and what I've noticed is the girls who work with an agency in person do way better than the girls who work remotely. So the girls who are using the kind of pimp strategy, they're making $50K to $100K a month, and the agency's taking home pretty much all of it. So that's kind of the dark side. And the thing is, in this space, I know a lot of people who they like run Instagram ads to get girls in Colombia or Romania or Moldova. Now, when they run those ads, they get the girls on a salary. Now, the average monthly wage over there is like $500 in both those countries. So they get the girls on salary. They say, look, we'll pay you $500 a month, but then like all you have to do is shoot content. But then the agency, they have access to the page, right? So they can see all the numbers. The girls can't. The girls are fine getting paid $500, but then the agency makes $20,000, $30,000, $40,000. That's the dark side. So that's basically, I mean, the girls are basically doing it for free, right?
Cash right there.
Now with me, I just give girls all the access. So they have access to all the accounts. They create all the accounts themselves. So it's basically, if they want to leave at any time, they can leave at any time. But with a lot of the people who are in the top or maybe just starting out, they just try to do the pimp game. They go to Colombia, Moldova, run Instagram ads, or they just fly to, Colombia, find girls, do the pimp strategy, and then they just take pretty much 99% of the money.
I have a question here.
I want to read out something. I'll give you the mic, Tom. I'm just going to read out a message here. Catherine, feel free to jump in anytime as well. But let me read out this quick DM by someone that worked with the Tates. Hi, not willing to speak on voice, but yeah, you are right. I'm in an OnlyFans group run by a Romanian guy who was mentored by the Tates. And some of the tactics taught are simply about getting the girl. This can be your girlfriend to be useful for you, which is, as the gentleman just mentioned, and convincing her to do webcam for you on your behalf. These are tactics the Tates used. Okay, so that kind of validates one of the allegations made. So one of the allegations is that they used the concept of, hey, come be my girlfriend, etc., to lure in the girl, and then they essentially forced them to create that content, and they forced them to keep doing it by
we getting that inside scoop right now, dog. How to run an OnlyFans. Yo, so anybody out there, if you are a Hustlers University student, let us know your perspective, man. Let us know what's going on. What are your thoughts out there? These are some allegations right now.
Would be the best way to scale the strategy. There's a lot more to it, right, man? So if you can share more, that would be great. So I won't name you, I won't mention your username, but if you want to share more of that information, I'd be very, very grateful. And I will also mention that there was someone else that sent a screenshot dated. Let me see what it's dated. It says like another argument supporting Tate's flashback. Fox News was talking about how Andrew Tate, he claimed he was swatted with fake report of human trafficking. So there's like two sides to the argument that we're discussing here. Tom?
It sounds to me. It sounds to me, based on what Stan's saying, and going back to Ian's analysis, that this system, the feature is sex trafficking. And Stan, with all due respect, that's what you're in the business of doing. However much independence you give to so-called girls who work with you, how do you ascertain the age of the women that you use in your sex trafficking operation?
What?
So, like, what girls do I work with? Like, what kind of age they are?
Yo,
how do you ascertain? How do you make sure they're not minors?
Yeah, so with OnlyFans, when you create an account, you have to verify the account. So when you go in and verify the account, you need two forms of ID that can be in, a passport, driver's license, state ID, whatever the case may be. And then you submit those documents, or the girl does. I always let the girl submit the documents to OnlyFans. Then OnlyFans, they go in, takes 24 to 72 hours to go in and verify. And if they verify it, that's who can take money out of the account. And, it's kind of like proof that you're real, that you're legit. If you have the check mark by your name, that's how you get verified. So you need a couple forms of documents, couple forms of, identification to prove that you're legit. And it's up to OnlyFans whether they can verify it or not. I've had cases where girls have, I've personally known them, and they were like, hey, I have OnlyFans. Can you do this for me? And I saw that their account was already verified, and I just work with that. So it's up to OnlyFans to verify the girl or not verify the girl. And sometimes, they don't verify the girl and then they verify. It's kind of weird what they do.
I want to jump in and mention the dark side of it. This is a good example, and this is the shit that pisses me off. I'm not referring to you, Stan. Just the message that I just got from a user. I can't follow anyone at the moment, but okay. Girls are being groomed by older men. So she's talking about the dark side. Girls are being groomed by older men when they are still at school. This happened to my daughter, aged 14. School did nothing. Police cautioned her for making and distributing child porn. I fought hard for her. Managed to keep her safe for years. After a health issue, she was taken away from me, basically. She now lives with a customer. The fuck? She now lives with a customer who now basically pimps her out. I've not seen her for over a year. This isn't glamorous or empowering. They also use drugs to groom and control. That's the dark side. And then she says she starts swearing. So for that user, I just read the thing. If you can share more information,
it's pretty empowering if you ask people they, them in their profiles. They'll tell you that sex work is real work and that you have to respect them.
Hey, yo, man. They're talking about the dark side. They're talking about the dark side right now. Like, these are some really strong allegations. And yo, let me just this is a tough one.
Sob stories to separate men. Some people handing in thousands and thousands of dollars thinking that these girls are in relationships with them. And the Tates call it all a scam, and the authorities cannot do anything about it. So they are kind of telling the story that they are committing these total scams where they're using the girls to tell sob stories to clients to get them to pay, thousands of dollars, believing they're becoming their girlfriends. And they're basically saying, that's at their own risk. It's their fault. And the authorities can't do anything against this total scam. So if that is what kind of triggered this thing, because look at the timing, right? It's now December. The story ran in March. That's kind of the time, the lead up time that an investigation team needs to come up with enough evidence to bring a case. And if they were able,
let's discuss. Let me know your thoughts. I'm in the comments. I'm in the chat box.
The clients that are being hurt here with these sob stories and losing thousands. Maybe we can find some of the girls who have been working here who can, provide us evidence that allows us to go against these guys. So I think what's going to happen here is not only are there going to be more girls coming forward, because apparently the Tates have been dealing with hundreds of girls, setting up these calls for clients at $4 a minute. But there's also much more to the story than just these girls. I think there's also another side to it where clients are being scammed out of millions of dollars over the last few years by scripted stories that these girls are telling these men, where they are located in Romania or in other Eastern European countries, but telling these clients they are actually in London, they are in the UK, so they seem to be attainable for these men. And it seems like what they're also admitting to is that there are professional agents that actually do the chatting for the girls. Most of them don't even speak proper English, so it looks like they're touching the keyboard, but it's actually a professional person.
Very, very common. Yeah, Kim. So that I was saying that earlier. What happens is, it's crazy. It's insane. You think you're talking to a girl on OnlyFans, but there's guys that are trained what to send that pretend to be a girl and they have drafts to send. It's ridiculous. So if anyone's using OnlyFans, just keep that in mind. Kim, I've got someone that knows Tate, so as soon as you're done, I'll let you give the mic to Leia, Kim.
So all I'm saying is I think, to me, this story almost looks like an invitation, saying you can't do anything against this. Yes, it's tragic that these people are losing money. They themselves call it a big scam. bragging about it and said nobody cares, it's their problem, not mine, that these men are losing money. And then of course you have the other side of the story is, how are they getting these women to do this kind of stuff? So they have been asking for it. If you read the story, I've sent you the link in the DM, feel free to put it up on your Twitter, but if you read that, it's asking for it.
Yeah, I've got it open in front of me. I'll put it in the thread. Leia, good to have you.
Yeah, good to be here. Thank you for bringing me up, Mario.
Hey, Leia. I was looking at your account a while ago. The team was telling me about you, so here we are. What are your thoughts on what you're hearing? Pretty crazy allegations.
It's a great question. I think the whole thing is pretty ridiculous. I think he's an incredibly successful individual who has put a lot of people out of business. There's a lot of jealousy when you're that successful, and people will do whatever they can to bring you down. I've kind of come in the middle of this conversation. As for, men speaking on behalf of women when it comes to like OnlyFans and things like that, it's a business at the end of the day. And I guess a man knows how to keep a man paying more money. It is what it is. We all thought sex work was, real work, and women should be empowered to do what they want. My opinions don't matter on that. But, suddenly that's not okay.
Tate's
I thought we all
friends right now
supported women
talking.
to do what they wanted. And, Tate and his brother were helping women get, make more money from this. I think the whole thing is rubbish. I think, like I said earlier, he's pissed a lot of people off. That's the name of the game. That's what he wanted to do. That's how he became incredibly successful in social media. It was by annoying a lot of people, being very rude. So, I don't take it seriously. I've said for months now, I know both of them personally. I think he's actually a nice person, despite what probably everybody else in this group may think, or in this space may think. And the whole thing is rubbish. I'm like truly just so fascinated by what's happening. I mean, let me know if you have any specific questions, but I think it's all rubbish.
Yeah, so I've got a question for you. So we had Patrick David on the space earlier, and he talked about his experience with Andrew. They spent like 6 hours together. He did a long interview with him, and he talked about his personality when the camera's not rolling, and it was even is nicer than the person we all see on those videos. But it kind of reminded me of Sam Bankman-Fried in the FTX story. Sam was an incredibly nice guy, like just so nice. You would never think he's a criminal. And then look where we are today. So,
you're gonna compare Andrew Tate to SBF? Really?
The allegations are pretty serious. What makes you confident that they're not true? Like maybe it's in Andrew's past before he made all the money, or he had a big personal brand.
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, from what I understand, the cam business stopped a long time ago. I think his brother Tristan continued it and Andrew didn't. Look, when you know somebody's character, you know somebody's character. And from my experience with Andrew and from what I understand of this entire cam business, I understand that he was perhaps in a relationship with many of the women, and that's how he was able to get them to do what he wanted to do. But it's all consensual. These women are of age, and I thought we all believed that men and women were equal. So women are smart enough and intelligent enough to be discerning enough and make their own decisions and be able to be adults and decide whether they want to be a cam girl or not. And I think he's one of those men who women tend to look up to and fawn all over, and that's the women's responsibility. If she's there just fawning all over him and is happy to be his cam girl, then I think she needs to take some accountability. I think this idea of he's manipulative and it is what it is. Like, people are just crying really over nothing. And
you're literally defending pimping right now. You understand that, right?
Sorry, say that again.
And whenever anyone is interviewed outside the house with a serial killer, they always say, "Oh, he's the nicest guy in the neighborhood." So I mean, let's have some balance here. The 6 victims have come forward and said that they've been raped, kidnapped, basically, and sexually assaulted. I think we need to show a little bit of decorum and respect. This happened in the heart of human trafficking in Europe, in a place where people are incredibly disadvantaged, where young girls don't have the privileges that we have living in growing up. It's irrelevant that there are vulnerable young girls who can't even afford to eat,
How's
who are
that
being
relevant
exploited
to Andrew?
every single day in Romania. How's it relevant to Andrew? We don't know.
Exactly.
He's just been arrested after a 9-month investigation. So before you just say it's total nonsense and completely
You
disrespect
asked my opinion.
the
You asked my
potential
opinion.
you say it's total. I knew you would come on with that opinion. You say it's total nonsense.
That's my opinion.
So why don't you have some balance and say, why don't we wait and see the investigation, which has been going on for 9 months, actually play out before dismissing 6 young women accusing a guy of basically coercing them and raping.
You asked my.
I think show a little bit of respect
I don't
to
need
to the people
You
involved.
asked my opinion.
No, you don't need to, because you never do. No.
Okay, so that's a personal attack. Thank you. So I came on. You asked my opinion. I'm going to give my opinion. I don't need to show respect to anyone that I don't know. I'm being very unemotional about the situation. Of course, we all know.
Your opinion is it's total nonsense. It's total nonsense.
Sam,
I mean, do you want my opinion or not?
I got it. So I've got another question for you, if you don't mind.
Let me know what your thoughts are down in the chat box, yo, because we're covering this live coverage of Andrew Tate's arrest. We're in a space call talking to his colleagues, his contemporaries, his acquaintances, his enemies, all that.
Below 18, is that correct?
I'll be honest, I didn't see that in the official police statement, but if Kim has more information.
Kim, you're the one that kind of brought that to my attention, no?
No, I'm reading the same document that you are all reading, the press release from the police in Romania, saying that 2 defendants for committing the crimes of human trafficking, minors trafficking, and pimping. So minors trafficking means that there were probably females involved that were not 18 years old yet.
So from these allegations, Leia, so maybe I'd say if these allegations are proven true, and there's evidence to support it, I'm guessing you'd have a different opinion of this, but you just think that...
I would hope so, because if those allegations are true, they're damning as hell, right? There's no walking back. I mean, you can't walk that back. It's insane.
Yeah, let's be clear. I obviously don't support rape. I'm a woman. I don't support rape. I don't support abuse or anything like that. All I can do is go off somebody's character. Right now, there's no evidence. And so all I can do is go off someone's character. What I do know
there's
is
an awful
that
lot of evidence from the police. There's evidence from the police, which is what led to a 9-month investigation.
The police get things wrong. The police get things wrong. Suddenly the police aren't interested in the likes of Prince Andrew and all this stuff. I'm not, it's all...
The Romanian police are not going to arrest Prince Andrew. He's not in Romania. So.
Even that's irrelevant, because... Of course, there's Interpol. There's all these. They're all in communication with each other. The establishment really don't care about the truth. What they care about is cracking down on what threatens them. And like I said, of course, if there's evidence that comes to light that he really did abuse these women, he's a rapist, then of course my opinion would change. I'm not a lunatic, despite what I don't know who was speaking earlier might think. But if actual evidence came to light, then of course. However, all I can do is go off my instinct and my judgment based off of somebody that I have met on several occasions and have had many conversations
Twitter's
with.
On fire right
and now. A lot of things have been taken out of context. Like I said, there's a lot of people that dislike him. He's angered a lot of individuals, and so of course they can get the Romanian police and people in Romania to come up with all sorts of stories. Romania is one of the most corrupt countries in Europe. I believe that's why Andrew chose to live there, because it's easier to pay people off. It's one of the most corrupt countries.
And what does that say to you?
Oh, that's an interesting point that you just raised. I mean,
if
he's not doing anything shady, why does he have to live in Romania?
Yeah, this is an 8-month.
Pretty sure he lives there for tax reasons.
No, Romania is not a tax haven at all. Romania is a very cheap place with a massive amount of human trafficking, the worst in the world apparently. For someone who claims to be worth $200 or $300 million, there's very little logic to why he would live in Romania. It's not a tax haven. Dubai is a tax haven.
It's definitely better for taxes. It's definitely better than the UK
no,
for taxes.
It's a European country.
I'll go
UK, maybe.
So before going to Viva, I want to go quickly to Minod. Minod, you were trying to DM me and then DM Tara. Tara, thanks for sending me that. You wanted to offer more clarity on the business model of Andrew. So I'll give you the mic, and then we'll go to Viva.
Yeah, so I just want to clarify. A lot of you guys were talking about OnlyFans, but the main business that he and his brother ran were webcams. So they used a website called My3Cams, but what happened is he and his brother, they were actually getting scammed on this website. Some of the guys, they found out how to make fake tokens, and they were getting some of their girls to perform for free. So they switched over to Chatbait, and when they switched over to Chatbait, Andrew had an argument with one of his girls. She said he didn't pay her the money she was owed, and that he was violent with her. You know, she was actually held in custody for 2 days in the UK, and then he moved over to Romania where he was arrested again. So, I mean, with all of this, I find it hard to believe that Andrew is a good guy. You know, there's just so much evidence against him. He's been arrested in the UK, in Romania, and again. And there's actually some videos where he has admitted that he used the lover boy tactic to get women to basically think he was in love with them and to then become webcam models for his business.
And is the lover boy tactic itself, moving away from ethics, is it illegal, the tactic itself?
Well, I mean, it certainly wouldn't be illegal, right? You know, he didn't force any of the women
It's
to
very
get into love with him. Yeah, just unethical. It's not illegal, but yeah, you know, it's definitely
Well, it
unethical.
must be in Romania because they are naming that as part of the charges, which is pimping. So there must be some legislation in Romania that makes that illegal.
Yeah, if they named it in the charges, then I imagine it probably is illegal. Yeah.
Viva?
It's a question for Leia, because I think you mentioned briefly that you knew firsthand that Tate is having personal relationships with the alleged victims and all of this. What's the nature of the relationship that he was having with them, and what are their ages, if you know this?
I can't speak on behalf of Andrew's personal relationships. I mean, I've heard him speak online about how he was in an open relationship, so maybe potentially some of them were his girlfriends. I don't know. I also can't speak for the age of them. However, I know that he's not a pedophile, so they are definitely of age, if that's what the implication is. So I hope that answers that.
And just to say, like, I read all of this with the same perspective in mind that they accused Julian Assange of sexual assault in Sweden. So you listen to it with that in mind. You have your own past experience, and you know how corrupt the world can be. Flip side, you now put all of this in perspective with some of the public statements Tate has made. You talk about the OnlyFans and the webcam business, running it cleanly. I'm sitting here wondering, is there a way to run these dirty industries cleanly to begin with, or are you just less dirty than the other people running these industries or working in these industries?
I'll answer for you, Leia, because I'm going to answer that for you because someone is sending a message kind of in support of that particular point you made. So I'll read that out and I'll let you add on anything that they missed. So they messaged the following, someone that runs an agency. Please don't mention my name. I work in the OnlyFans management business. Whilst I respect your guests, many of them aren't in the business. Some of their concerns are valid. That being said, this business as a whole is no different to the age-old agent-talent relationship. We take percentages from the girls, but we also create revenue that they've previously never experienced. Yes, there are scams. Yes, there are bad apples. But some of the uneducated claims about OnlyFans and managers are ridiculous. This is largely being treated as women equals victim. You should see some of the groups or even subreddits where women are celebrating ripping off men. I know many guys who are paying girls salary and receiving far more. This doesn't mean the girls aren't getting ripped off. As Leia says, it's a business. The girls agree to a percentage or a salary, sometimes both, and naturally the agency does the best to earn as much as possible. So it's kind of highlighting the quote-unquote ethical, and I'm using that in inverted commas, the ethical way of doing the business and how it should be, and he said that there are bad apples. Leia, anything to add to that point?
Yeah, look, to be clear, I don't think prostitution is sex work, or like legitimate work. Sorry. I don't think OnlyFans is okay. I don't think cam businesses are okay. I don't think any kind of sex work is legitimate work. I think it's highly unethical and quite disgusting. However, it's not illegal in many different parts of the world, and it's not my place to judge when the women are consenting to what's happening. Like I said, they are all of age and they all consented to it. I think many of them.
You don't know any of this. You're just pulling this out of your
What
ass.
don't I know?
What do you know?
What specifically
What do
don't
you
I
know
know?
about the women that have made these allegations? You don't even know what the allegations are.
Right, but I also believe in innocent until proven guilty. A lot of women make all sorts of claims. I don't believe we should just believe women for the sake of believing women. I think that's dumb and illogical. All I can do, like I've said before, is go based on somebody's character. and I don't think he is an evil person. I think he's just the ordinary man, to be honest. I don't think he's done anything different than any other man would do. He's just trying to make some money. I don't think he's forcing any women to do anything.
No way.
I don't think he's different. I don't think he's any different from any ordinary man, to be honest. I think he's just hustling in life and doing whatever he can do. And I don't think he forced any woman to do what she did. I'd also be and the broader conversation here, which probably many people don't want to have, is I wonder where these girls' fathers are. That would be more interesting. Where are their fathers? Why does Andrew get the blame of these women consenting to post expose their bodies online? Where are their fathers?
She bringing that
The
smoke right now.
accusations were the accusations where they didn't consent, Leia. This is the whole point. This is why he's been arrested. This is
but
why
I believe in innocent until proven guilty.
Yeah, and I totally agree with you there. But to just completely dismiss it and blame the poor girl's fathers is so flippant. I mean, come on. This is not just Andrew Tate. This is an entire country that is plagued by this. And to dismiss it flippantly and saying these girls have been sex trafficked, it's their father's fault. I'm sorry.
Well, I'm not here to discuss.
Okay.
I'm not here to discuss Romania at large. Like, I've joined the chat to talk about this specific case. And from what I understand,
and you don't like the idea that it may be true, but this is an 8-month-long investigation, and I don't think it should just be dismissed flippantly and say it's the girl's father's fault. Or I'm just saying, like, to have a little bit of balance. I understand that you're friends with this guy, but this didn't just happen overnight. This is an 8-month. This started with accusations that go back to April, and I think there has to be some respect for the people who have maybe come forward in this case.
I'm not disrespecting anyone. I'm not disrespecting anyone. I think it's getting a little bit emotional. All I'm doing is presenting the facts that I know, my point of view. And like I said, I believe innocent until proven guilty. And I don't like the idea of believing women just because they're women. I think that's a very, very dangerous street to go down. And as a man, I think you should be very careful with believing women for the sake of women. Women will say terrible things when their hearts are broken and when they haven't had the kind of love from a man that they're completely in love with. Women will do terrible things, and I hope nobody in this space one day ever experiences that.
Let's just be fair here. Men do the same thing in different ways.
Okay, but we're not talking about men making accusations. We're talking about women making accusations. Of course, all sorts of people do terrible things, but I'm talking about the importance of remaining objective and unemotional.
Laia, it's 6 women right now, right? And this is prior to this becoming public, so you can be sure there will probably be some more after that. And for you to come here and say they may all be making it up, they may all be in it for the money to create some kind of story, I think that's a little bit far-stretched, especially given that we don't know the details yet.
Perhaps it is far-stretched, and that's very likely. All I'm saying is I'm here to I listened to this space about an hour or two ago, and I've just come back in, and all I'm here to do is provide my opinion. I'm not trying to offend anyone, I'm just speaking very objectively. My opinion is innocent until proven guilty. I don't care if they're women. I don't care who they are, what they're accused of. I have no sympathy for anyone until we know the facts, and all I can do is go by what I know, and I know his character. I don't know his brother as well. I can't speak for his brother, but I know Andrew's character, and that's all I can speak to.
Sylvain, I'd love your. I know you've had your.
One of the charges that I think Kim or the others have mentioned is pimping, and that's a very specific prostitution charge. I'm not familiar with any virtual, sort of OnlyFans type of version of pimping. Someone correct me if I'm wrong, but that would be specifically managing prostitutes for, I don't know, sex tourism. And I don't believe that's legal anywhere, even anywhere in Europe. Is someone correct me if I'm wrong, but that's specifically managing women for prostitution purposes. There's no other definition of pimping.
So I think the allegation is
those who are just pulled up to the to this broadcast, let me know your thoughts in the chat box. Like, you think the Matrix got a hold of Andrew Tate, or do you think that there's some validity to these accusations? Let us know down in the chat box.
You should have the ability to have many different wives, and when you look at these allegations now, maybe that's what he's telling the women that he wants to work for him on OnlyFans, I can have multiple wives. I can be with all of you, and you can all be happy with me. Who knows? Maybe it's a business strategy to convert to Islam.
So I looked up the Loverboy legislation in Europe, and Romania, the UK, France, Netherlands, and a bunch of other countries. Actually, it's illegal there to do the Loverboy thing. So yeah, if that's what he did, that would be breaking the law. It's considered pimping.
So just to be clear, Loverboy is essentially you pretend you love a girl purely to convince her to start,
Yeah.
doing.
Yeah, essentially to coerce her into, performing sex acts or, for money, for the purpose of money. It's a form of prostitution and human trafficking. Yeah.
But hold on. This is what Andrew.
You can't even be a player in the UK. They got Loverboy laws. You can't even be a player. Like, dang. Couldn't be me, man. Couldn't be me.
No, this one's a bit different. They love each other, I think, and then she started doing OnlyFans. But he told me that he knows a lot of people within his circle. I'm trying to choose my words carefully. That actually do this strategy. They talk about it very openly. You go to a girl, build a relationship with her, and then convince her. So hold on, Ian, Loverboy, do you force them to?
You coerce them psychologically. That's considered a form of sex trafficking.
It's social
and there have been
engineering.
crackdowns on it as recently as this year, where major sex trafficking networks, where groups of men would use this strategy on women to coerce them into doing OnlyFans or into prostituting themselves in real life.
And we had people mention earlier, I haven't watched much of Andrew's content, but we had people say earlier that this is, and please correct me if I'm wrong, guys, in the DMs, or confirm if this is true, because I know we've got a pretty big audience, and some of you may, most of you will know more about Andrew than us. Has he said that or not about, not the word coercing, but if you want a girl to go on OnlyFans, you got to date her and then convince her or use different XYZ strategies to convince her to conduct those acts. If anyone can give me more clarity on this, that would be good. Yeah, go ahead. I'll let Tom. I'll just let Stan quickly go because I think he wants to comment on that particular point. And I'll go to Tom right after Stan.
Yeah, so I want to make something clear is that whatever somebody said, I got a couple messages saying that I was kind of incriminated, saying, I'm part of sex trafficking. I want to make something very, very clear. Is the content creators who I brought on, they already had OnlyFans. So basically what I did to start out and what I'm still doing is I do outreach, all over for girls who already have OnlyFans. So they are totally willing to, do this. And I come along, I say, look, I will, grow your OnlyFans by, bringing in traffic from all these different sources. Let's say TikTok, Reddit, Twitter, Instagram, whatever the case may be. When I bring that traffic through and we convert them into subscribers, then we convert them into messages. Basically, we split the profits 50-50 split. You keep 50, I keep 50. And at the end of the day, the average how much these girls make on OnlyFans is like $180 per month. That's the average, how much, top 50% content creator makes. So I basically change your life. I give them, some safety in their life financially. I, help them get out of, let's say one of them used to work at Target and now she is doing whatever she wants now. If she wants to buy something, she doesn't have to deal with the stress financially. So some people, they come along and they, kind of push the mantra where you just get $500 a month and I take $20,000 a month. That's not me. I basically just get girls who already have OnlyFans and I say, look, we're going to split the profits 50-50 and then I'll just change your life. So
how
financial
do you have the right to take 50%, man? Like, how do you justify that? That's crazy.
Oh, it's very common. It's insane. Yeah, it's very, very common. And their argument is that they do a lot of the work and there's a lot of costs in the background that
can
goes into. Yeah, go ahead, man. I don't want to explain it for you because I've no idea.
So yeah. So basically, all the girl does is just sit down, maybe she spends 30 minutes a day creating content. And then basically what I do is I do the marketing. In addition to that, I run the messaging. I send out content, whatever the case may be, send out messages. And in addition to that, I do go to my way and I pay for promotions. So I tell girls, and I don't keep 50%. You keep all the 50%. At the end of the day, I'm probably keeping 10 to 20%. That's how much I'm keeping. But I tell them, look, most of this money is going to be allocated towards investments, because basically what I've seen is a very, very fast and quick way to grow is by investing money. And it's something called,
Investing where? Investing where?
So basically, I'm in contact with other managers, or there's something called Telegram. On Telegram, you can get in contact with managers for the girls, and they have something set up called GG, which is called guaranteed gains. So if I spend $100, I'm going to get 100 fans in return, and the fans are free fans; they're not paid fans, and it's my responsibility to convert them from them entering the account for free in the messages. So,
do you mind if I just jump in? I'll give you the mic right after, and Tom, but I just want to read a couple of things that everyone's just spamming my messages right now. So Romania has 80 prostitutes per 10,000 people. US has 31. So Romania has almost 3 times more prostitutes per capita. There's another video. So I lost it. Where is it? There it is. Okay. I'm going to read this out. Tate went on the Full Send podcast and told the entire story of how he does it, the Loverboy strategy, and why he lives in Romania. If that is illegal, the Loverboy strategy, he is going to jail because he described the whole thing. So I'm going to get that podcast and probably get segments and play them in the space. But just thought I'd mention that. So go ahead, Tom.
Well, with all due respect, Stan, you are involved in sex trafficking. You're pimping out women. You're taking a cut of their sexual activity. It may not be physical activity, but it's sexual activity nevertheless.
Who is this nigga, man?
And what we're learning today and tonight on this very educational spaces is that OnlyFans and these other platforms are high-tech prostitution operations. There's no reasonable way to ensure that the women participating are of age, as if that makes it right. But it makes it worse. And we're hearing the incredible profit motive to churn and increase the number of girls participating in this. And and if this is the business Tate's been in or is in, it almost necessarily involves criminal activity. You just can't get into it to any great extent without running up against the rule of law in various countries. And it doesn't mean that, that what Tate is accused of is all correct. And, but based on what we're hearing is that he's made admissions suggesting he was running up against the law here. And nor does it mean that he's not being unfairly targeted, given the widespread industry there in Romania. But let's be clear here, and that this is an ugly, often illicit business that, as Ian has highlighted, there needs to be significant clampdown on, because it relies on the sex trafficking operations and pimping and the participation of minors in order to reap the monies that they're reaping, not only for the companies that are running them, but as we're hearing about the large-scale operations that are pimping out and prostituting women.
Yeah, and I've also been reading a bit more. So there seems to be quite a financial incentive here, because if I see these stories correctly, the Tates are bragging that they're making $1 million a month with this cam girl business. So that's a substantial bread and butter business that would fund all of his, lifestyle costs that allow him to, launch other businesses and portray himself as, a multi-millionaire, or even as he did with Piers Morgan as a billionaire. So the motive of doing this and operating this in the way
you heard it
the
here
allegations
first, right? Kim.com is a hater.
Put out there by the authorities.
But he next
in
on the chopping
Romania,
block too, though.
Seems to
the Matrix is gonna get him
suggest that
too.
he just kept his bread and butter business going.
I'm reading a PC by The Guardian. Around the time UK police were investigating abuse allegations, Tate is understood to have left the UK for Romania. reasons on why he moved to Romania. He says in one video,
This
adding,
is
quote,
wild.
I'm not a rapist,
Wild.
but I like the
Anyway.
idea.
All right, heard enough of that. Yo, man, let me know your thoughts. I'm going to be chilling back. This is my last final night here alone without the wife and the kids. They are going to be back home tomorrow. So I'm going to enjoy my bachelor night alone. Yo, free the top G. That's one. Free the top G. And also free Tory Lanez. All right? That's all I got to say for today, for right now. All right? Free the top G's and free my man Tory Lanez, yo. This is not a good look going into 2023. Anyway, friends, thank you guys so much for watching. But one thing you need to take away from this broadcast, like, it doesn't matter what the facts are when the lies are more entertaining. You know, be the judge based on the evidence. We don't have that much evidence yet, but you be the judge. You know what I'm saying? He's been calling this out for quite some time, but you guys be the judge of that. Anyways, with that said, don't forget to drink water, get money, mind your business. I'm out. Peace.